Tonight we're going to check out Jason's new guitar. Welcome back, Troglodytes, to your daily dose of guitar information, the Trogly's Guitar Show. It's Fender Friday. Let's go ahead and see what Strat he bought. I haven't really been paying attention to Fender lately, so when he asked to review this, I thought, nice, another Sassafras bodied Stratocaster. So this is an American Performer limited edition where they have 3 select exotic body woods that you can choose from in a few different finishes. So the one we're talking about today is Sassafras body. Fender did occasionally substitute this in during its golden era. In fact, we talked about this previously on the Eric Johnson Stories Virginia Stratocaster. That's when I first learned about it. I just think sassafras is a cool word. So to have a sassafras body on a Strat, I think that's just a lot of fun. We've got some cool wood grain on this one too. But then they also have a sugar pine body in 2-color sunburst, as well as a spruce in honeyburst. Now those 2 body woods sound really interesting to me. I'm just not really a big fan of how those colors turned out, but that's just me. But these new limited edition versions are about $100 premium over the regular ones that have the alder body. But with a price tag of $1,500, I was fully expecting this to be like made in Mexico. Not realizing it's called the American Performer series. These are made in USA. They've got the kind of larger late 60s, 70s Fender headstock. And in case you missed it, yes, these are all satin finishes on the neck and the body. It's kind of an interesting look for a Strat. I know we did the Japan Junior series a few years ago, but even that was more of an eggshell. This has a very smooth feel to it. It's not cheap, nasty feeling is my first impression. I'm curious how long it'll take before it starts buffing up. It feels like it might have some basic resiliency though. But this series utilizes some special electronics, so these are called Yosemite pickups, but we've got a fancy push-pull over here, which adds the neck pickup into the circuit for the 1 and 2 positions. So you can get these 2 together, and you can get all 3. So we'll take a look at that over on the Workbench and play around with it during the playing segment. Otherwise, the specs are fairly standard for these, nothing too crazy. It looks like this particular example is 2 pieces, so it's not like they're cobbling together 4 or 5 pieces to offer up these exotic woods within their lineup. But besides just our guitar, they ship in a gig bag. It's a pretty standard gig bag. It's got about 1 inch of padding. As far as paperwork, well, it has a paper COA, your regular hang tags, and your usual Fender welcome pamphlets with the trem bar and Allen keys. So to learn more, let's go ahead and throw it on the Workbench to take an individual look at the parts and specs of Jason's new Stratocaster. And while I'm conditioning the fretboard for him, if you're interested in having your brand new guitar featured on the show, feel free to check out my website, troglysguitarshow.com, under the New Guitar Day tab. That's what NGD stands for. It helps support the show and adds more variety, and gives you a forever keepsake of your new guitar journey. And it doesn't cost you anything extra for guitars priced $1,200 or higher. Inside our Sassafras friend, getting this pick guard off was a pain in the butt. Because it has 22 frets, so that means the fretboard sticks out just a little bit so it catches the guard. But since this is so closely routed for single coils, there wasn't enough room to get the screw legs out, so I had to remove the neck pickup just to get into here. Fender does not want you inside of these things. So I found it's routed for a humbucker in the bridge, likely because there is an American Professional HSS setup as well, so they're just all the same bodies programmed into the machine. So keep that in mind if you happen to have had future modification plans. But you can see some of the barcodes and all our good stuff here. One thing I did notice is that's such a clean single coil route as is this, but here it almost looks like the router got bumped right there. Everything else is so perfectly straight. But while it's out, we might as well take a look underneath our cover. That's the Yosemite neck pickup. The tops of the bobbins look like so. And here's a look at the middle and the bridge with our barcode located on the back of our pick guard, and you can see all the shielding that they've done. And this is your master volume, your first tone, and then your second tone, as well as being that push-pull activator for the neck pickup. Looks like we've got some sort of a printed circuit board attached to that pod as well. And inside this cavity, you can see some more barcodes, but it's all covered over in the shielding paint, which is sad because apparently sassafras is what gives root beer that signature flavor, which just seems like such a missed opportunity. Why call this Mocha? Call it root beer finish. Especially if it would have smelled like that. Unfortunately, no, it just kind of smells like an elephant. But I was curious about the longevity of this finish. How long is it going to stay nice and satin? So I performed a very small controlled test right there. In my opinion, that looks awesome when you fully polish it up. you can check out this guide of how I clean my guitars. If you just do one round of the cleaner and polish with paper towels, you're going to get this exact result. Because the reason why this looks so light colored, it's mainly because of a bunch of reflections. But if you do the polishing, it's going to get a little bit more of a lustrous sheen to it, which kind of cuts down on that white glare. But that's definitely looking closer to a root beer style finish. Let's see, do we have any raw sassafras in here? We do. I can't tell if I'm smelling that or paint, though. I didn't think ahead on that one. I can get the neck pickup out that way, but I didn't think about how I was going to get it back in. But I managed. So this is kind of interesting. Your pickguard's 3-ply parchment. You kind of have this creamy plastic for your pickups as well as the knobs. Looking at a stock photo, I would think, that kind of looks a bit strange. But in person, it works because you have to account in for the fact that you have kind of a bare maple neck look. So it spices up the color palette a bit. Our tremolo's nothing too crazy here, just our regular Stratocaster one with 6 individual saddles. But here's the outside of those knobs. Again, master volume, 2 different tones. This is the one that pulls up and down. Now, since it is a push-pull pot, they actually make it sit a little bit higher. Like, this is the down position, because otherwise it'd be hard to get under it. I've had that problem on some Fenders with push-pull pots before, so it seems like they were listening with that, because that's real easy to get under that lipped ridge. And of course, our regular 5-way selector switch. Let's see here. The neck pickup reads 7.78 k ohms, the middle position 8.4, and the bridge 8.65, so they are all a little bit different. Now this will be your bridge and middle together, 4.35, and now your neck and middle together, 411. Let's see how that changes when you add the neck pickup into the circuit. So this is neck and bridge, a position you can't normally get on a Stratocaster. It's 4.2. And then this position brings these two normally, but it's adding the neck pickup in, so it's all 3 running. So your third position, which is just usually that, is the same as your 4th position. So this and this will be exactly the same when that is up. And then the same thing is true over here, because you can't have double neck pickup. So that's pretty cool. For the American Performer, you get 2 additional tones that you can't normally get. So that's a total of 7. Or if you could care less, never mess with the knob, and it's just a regular Stratocaster with a satin finish. We can take a second to appreciate our wood grain again. I really like this example. You get a little bit of the ringiness, a lot of straight grain. As with any see-through colored guitar, there's variations depending on each example. But now let's move on to our maple neck with rosewood fretboard. This is something I noticed as I noodled on it right before we tore it apart. These have 22 jumbo frets. Like, these are quite tall, which is great for the modern player who wants to do like big bends. And it comes with a 9.5-inch fretboard radius and Fender's typical 25.5-inch scale. And they call this a synthetic bone nut that measures 1.7 inches, increasing to 2.06 at the 12th. The modern C neck measures 0.84 at the 1st fret. It stays kind of skinny, 0.89 by the 12th. Here's a look at that neck profile at the 1st fret and the 12th fret. Just nice and rounded. I was happy to see our walnut wood right here capping off our truss rod. But this is one of those models with a double string tree. They've got that really big logo Fender with our vintage poke it down, wrap it around style tuners, non-locking. Now we can move on to the back side of the guitar. Here's what it looks like with your trem plate removed. I haven't seen this before. Our trem block is actually branded with a part number PW36. It's pretty easy to tell where your second piece comes into play. You go from really straight grain to really wide, wavy, almost oak looking stuff. But you've got all your regular comfort cuts that Stratocasters are known for. However, no contoured heel or shaved down or anything like that. But it is a 4-screw neck with our Fender logo on the plate. But we've got the strap buttons in our usual locations. Now we can move on to the back side of the neck. There is no tinting to this maple neck, but you still have your walnut skunk stripe. Then we can see our serial number, dating this one to 2024, part of Fender's 70th anniversary celebration for the Stratocaster, 1954 through 2024. But all said and done, this one weighs 7 pounds, 14.9 ounces, so just a hair under 8. Not too bad. But let's go ahead, plug it in, and hear how it sounds. that was a run through your basic tones. So here's your in-betweens. Interesting. It just adds a little bit of like gruntiness to it. For me, it's all about that bridge and neck on the dirty channel. So there we go, the new American Performer Sassafras-bodied Mocha Stratocaster. What are my final thoughts? I do dig the satin finish. It's so silky smooth to play this thing, you're just flying up and down the neck. So that is a pro. Just remember, it'll eventually kind of wear itself into a natural gloss. As far as the weight and the distribution of everything, seemed good there. But for me, it's all about the neck and bridge pickups on the dirty tone, and these two together on the cleans. That technically means I like all the pickups in a roundabout way. However, for me, the whole grease bucket thing, it didn't add anything that fantastic in my opinion, but it's nice that you have it. You don't have to use it. And maybe another player could coax out some really cool tones with it. But for me, cleans were these two, and dirty, neck or bridge. So thank you, Troglodytes, for tuning in today. Do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll catch you tomorrow on the next one. Take care. If you don't want Fender Friday to end yet, why don't you check out this cool one?